Welcome to the Uncaged Mindset podcast, where we talk all things spiritual awakening and we interview the light workers who are out there radiating their light. But before I get to my first amazing guests today, please take a moment and smash that like button and subscribe. We're building a community of light and everyone is invited. Okay, I got to catch my breath right now because I'm so excited because I have these powerful healers and light workers with me today. Together, they lead and operate the Angels of Light Foundation, which focuses on teaching mindfulness techniques to children through connection with nature. The companion books, The Magical Garden, My Magical Garden, and My Magical Tree are bestsellers and received the Creative Child prestigious Book of the Year award. Congratulations, Terri. They also launched the Magic of Miracles podcast, which features guests who share their stories about the moments that changed their lives forever. Sycronicities, angel channeling, meditation, a connection to the divine, and a daily practice that they don't just talk about, they actually live it. Please welcome the hosts of the Magic of Miracles podcast, the amazing Terri Allen and B. Rams. Thank you for being on today.
No, you're welcome. Thank you, darling. I think that's probably the nicest introduction anyone's ever given us. So thank you so much.
Sure, Charles. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And obviously you were on the Magic of Miracles before about, was it a year and a half ago? Was it?
Over a year ago. Yeah. Yes.
So yeah.
Because you had a divine moment as well.
Yeah.
I did. Thank you for having me on it. That was, I almost feel like lost time when you say a year and a half ago. And when I think about when I was on your podcast, like where we were in the world, I'm literally checking in with myself right now because I feel like there's lost time. You know, you started that podcast during the lockdown, correct?
Yes, we did.
Was it 2021?
2020.
Was it 2020?
2020 we started that podcast. In lockdown we started that podcast because we wanted to bring a level of kindness, a level of positivity to the world and to a lot of people, and the feedback has been amazing.
Oh my goodness. Well, I can tell you as a listener of the Magic of Miracles podcast, it's not only inspiring, but one of the themes that's come up, and I've listened to both of your stories, I've learned a lot about the both of you, and also thank you for sharing your stories and being so vulnerable, because there's a theme that for me resonates, and that is this idea of fear, this being able to overcome adversities in your life or a change in direction in your life when you're being called so divinely by spirit or have a moment of synchronicity to do the thing that is just that's just so daring and courageous. I mean, not to overshare, this is your story, but I just to touch on, Terri, for you, overhauling your life and kind of going in a direction of like, what are people going to think of me? The people pleasing, buddy, getting on a plane to Ethiopia by yourself, following what you knew you had to meet your son, Michael. I mean, it's just, I'm inspired by that, but I also just think about how many people are living in fear right now and have blessings that are on their way to them right now, but they're afraid to take the next step to go towards that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of energy, as we know, we discussed the other week when you came here, but there's a lot of energy floating around in the air. Everyone's emotions are up in the air. There's a lot going on in the world, all over, Brazil, England, America. I mean, it's everywhere. I don't think anyone's missing out, but, so there's a lot of energy going on in the air, and it's very important, I would say. That's why we brought the Mindfulness Children's Foundation into fruition, because if you're in that morning, it's very important for you to get grounded and aware of where you're at and how you are feeling. This is so important because when you go about your day, and we do pick up, we're a collective group of human beings, So when you go about your day and you feel off or you're fearful and it comes in a bit later on, but you didn't start out that way, then more than likely you can then identify that you have picked up an energy. Do you know what I mean? That's collectively in the air. And this happens quite frequently. It happened to us yesterday. And I had to go for a walk in nature because I was like, I just thought, I've just got to stop. I've got to go outside, go for a walk. This isn't my energy. You know, I've picked something up or it's collectively in the air. There's a lot going on. And so by you grounding and getting your energy down in the morning, really connecting with how you're feeling, whatever that emotion is, because we all have different emotions every day. And we are in a movement of a new earth. And so a lot of things are unknown. But to get your emotions down, to know where you're coming from and be aware of that, and then proceed with your day to know that when you do later on in the day pick something up and you just feel really off or down or angry or sad, you have to stop for a minute and think, well, hold on a minute. Does this really belong to me or not? And it took me a long time to learn, you know, to be taught this through my training that I've had. But if it's taught to children at such a young age, for them to identify their emotions, where they're at, how they're feeling, what their body needs, what they need when you're out of balance, to try and understand that it's someone else's emotions, not your emotions, to take a brain break, you know, to give young children the opportunity to learn these along with teachers and parents, then it will change our world. Because collectively at the moment, I think because a lot of people are not in awareness, and even Eckhart Tolle talks about this a lot of humanity is not awakened. They are going about the day unaware. And so you've got all these emotions and everything floating around in the air. And, you know, if you are aware, or sometimes we all go in and out of awareness, I get ungrounded myself, you know, and so you can easily pick that up when you're not rooted in that moment. And that's why if you listen to somebody like Eckhart Tolle, he talks so slowly, very slow, because he's very present and he's really mindful of his words, but he's slowing you down at the same time. And so even if you're really quick, he's really slow. So you would actually, he's setting the tone, he's setting the beat. So teaching those mindfulness skills, he's actually got mindfulness down to the T, really.
But also the fact that we're all energy on this planet. Every single one of us are energy, and we can pick up emotions from different people. We can pick up from situations that's taking place. Let's say there's a situation going on in let's say parts of the Middle East or in Europe or some or the other. It will affect every single one of us. It doesn't mean that we are isolated and we are, okay, I should only look after myself, but we are one on this planet.
We are one, but for me, it's we are oneness, but not to go into that emotion.
Correct.
That's the key, to stop, pray, send angels, identify, okay, it's not mine, but let's send this energy, a pink bubble of love and light out to the world. Let's just do that. Let's not carry on with that, because if we carry forward with that fear of where people are, and, you know, there's a lot of things going on everywhere and people are fearful, and I understand completely. We all go into fearful moments. I'm not saying we don't, because we do. But it's just when it doesn't start off that way with you, or anger or whatever is going on, but to really, you know, try and be in the observing mind.
So it's always a good way to check in with yourself. So for instance, with your friends or the community that's around you or whoever's around you, whatever discussion is taking place, that's a reflection of you. Yeah. So for instance, if someone is losing their job or there's something going on, that's a reflection of you. So that's the energy that's around you at the moment.
But it has to be more than one message.
Correct.
So you'll hear it 2 or 3 times and you think, uh-oh,
what's going on?
Going on. It's around us. We need to be careful.
And that's being part of being in the moment and aware of conversations and thoughts and
responding.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm having chills right now because of all of what you just said. I'm receiving it and processing the fact that we are all connected, but at the same time, the oneness, which is also a beautiful thing, can also impact us. So we have to then kind of disentangle in a way and stay grounded, but also, buddy, still pay attention of the signs and symbols that are happening around us, because that's part of the energy field.
It's that awareness. You've really got to get it down. So you have to slow yourself down. And I can be very quick. My mind is very quick. I've had to learn to calm myself down and my mind down and my body. And I can still, the energy's very heightened out there at the minute.
Intense.
It's very intense. It's very quick. And if you're not grounded, it will take you off into that moment. And so that's why I know I'm referring to Eckhart Tolle, but he's dead calm. And he thought, right, okay, let's just go with this voice. And there's another one called John Blake in the UK called, I think, Spiritual Unfoldment. I think something like that. Dead calm, dead quiet, the way he's talking. So I listen to these when I know, okay, or I take my mind back to my breath, to count. Breath work is great. We have lots of free meditations on our Children's Foundation. And one is breathing, the stop technique, rain, all these little simple things that you can do, stop to observe, see what's going on, and then proceed. All these little things that can be taught at such a young age. Could you imagine the mental awareness of children then would be, amazing. I mean, I noticed with our son, because we taught him from a young age of 2, he just got an award this week at school for open-mindedness, but he's very... I'm not saying he doesn't get ungrounded, because all children do, he does, but he's very aware and he knows when to engage and when not to engage. I've noticed that. So I follow him quite a little bit, he doesn't, it's not really anything to do with me.
He reads the energy.
Yeah, he really reads the energy.
And what's interesting now, the other morning driving to school, where he says, Dad, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. He goes, history? I said, yeah. He goes, it's all about the past, right? Because it's about stuff that happened in the past. And I'm like, yes. He says, that means science is a little bit like history, because it all happens in the past. It's about what people invented in the past, what they did in the past. He says, so question. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, why don't they teach me about the future? Why don't they teach me in terms of what's going to happen, or what can I do?
What can we evolve
to in the future?
That's why I always think Elon Musk should open a school for kids, because, he's just,
so that kind of
got a vision, haven't they, of how the world should be. And so the children are sitting in class, because I go around a lot of the schools, and I've noticed this for over 10 years or more. They're not, look, nothing against teachers. I love teachers, think they've got an amazing hard job. But the system they're made to work in is out of date. And those kids sitting there know it. And so they're switched off and they get bored, or they just run with it and clear off and do their thing. There is some schools out there that do teach differently and, feed, but not that many. And that's why they know they're already built in with this awareness, these young kids. And that's why if you ask a lot of them, they say we're bored. They're from a different energy. They're from a different soul group. They're from an advanced soul group, more advanced than us, actually. Yeah. I always remember Michael saying when he was young, all the way up till he was about 8 or 9, then he stopped. On my planet, we don't have cars with petrol like this. On our planet, we don't need to earn money.
We exchange
things. We travel differently. We don't kill on anything.
We don't eat animals.
It was very interesting. Then I said, oh, are we from that planet? No, you're from another one. But he kept that up till he was about 8
years old.
About 8, yeah. And he kept going on about it, and it was too much detail, and I think a lot of these children are from a higher vibrational planet. And so when they come down here, probably with the educational system, not all of it, but a large majority, they're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, it really resonate with where I'm coming from. And I get it. That's why you have, there is some schools like the Green School in Bali that has really advanced. If you look it up, you'd want to go there yourself. And I'm sure there's many more that have the school of connecting to Mother Nature, understanding the rhythms of nature, growing your own food.
Because we are one with nature.
The future, things like that. They're very visionary. And I think, that needs more of that, I feel, personally.
I have a background in working with children with autism. I was a therapist for 11 years. And back when autism was just emerging and it was a new word in 2003, and a lot of people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I actually, she came into my life, it seems randomly, but it's not random, nothing is, but an angel channeler. And this woman told me, and it was the first time I'd ever heard this term, she said that I worked with crystal children. I didn't tell her a word of anything that I did. She's like, you're working with the crystal children or the indigo children, and they're here. It was very specific. She said they're here to teach us to, oh my gosh, here it is, to not be afraid, to diminish the fear. And she had said that I, was able to communicate with them telepathically, which was interesting because I knew that I was a good therapist because, I was teaching my kids to talk, and I knew that like my programs that I would put into place always outside of I would train my therapists well enough so that they can get creative and think outside the box to do the right program for the child to get them to learn. But I had this other thing that I couldn't explain to people. And because it was almost like a silent dialogue that I would have with the child who would have, behavioral issues. But speaking of that, is I got to know the school system very well. I got to know and see, because I was there mainstreaming my kids or supporting them, that there was either teachers that were unsupported, that they wanted to do more. They wanted to do the work that you're doing, Terri.
Yeah.
But they weren't allowed to do the work that you're doing.
I agree. I feel for them. And I think that's why in England at the moment, they're all striking. With everything. All the teachers are out. It's like they're there. They want to teach kids. They want to make a difference. That's why they were called forward, not to run an institution, etc. You know the score. You've been in them like I have. And like you said, there is a lot of them that are into that energy and want to do that type of school. They want to work in that as well, So if anyone's listening out there, some people need to really start using their money to open up some enrichment schools, or like the Green School in Bali, but things like that. Really, it's a massive calling. They would be packed. They would be full.
Yeah, I watched the testimonials when you were doing you were interviewing some of the children about how they were feeling before the session. And they were, I was just blown away at their language, and they're like, oh, I was feeling stressed out. But then, I chose to go, to my place, my magical tree and my magical garden. I know, they have this awareness that they are free to be themselves and be connected to their inner knowing of what they need. And I feel like a lot of people are getting disconnected to, like, even just the fact, like, am I hungry right now? Do I need a drink of water right now? Did I eat too many flaming hot Cheetos and my body is mad at me for eating those things?
Yeah. You know what? You're right, because I was in a school last week, and one of the parents came up to me and said, oh, my son's been telling me he's anxious. I said, well, I was in that class, last week with your child was in that class, and doesn't seem anxious to me. So I just said, do you use that word, or your husband at home? Does anybody use that word? Because he's 6 or 7? How can he know what anxious means? Because you won't. As a child, they don't understand.
I never used a word like that.
No, I've never used anxious, stressed, anything. So she looked and then she said, yeah, I use it. I went, there you go. The word, the child's giving you back the words that you're using. It's not a word I would use. Even, for us, I'm stressed all the time, talking like that. So, Michael doesn't use those words. I'm sure he uses other words that I know he uses other words that I use, but that's another awareness. When these young kids are, I'm stressed. How can you be stressed? You're only 7. I think it's parent words or what that they're listening to. That's another thing. Now, can they be internally stressed from what's going on in the home? Yes. Would they identify that? I don't think so at that young age. They'd probably explain it as my stomach's upset, or it's tight, or you know what I mean? But some people need to identify that sometimes when the child said, I'm stressed, and you really work with the child, and you use our mindfulness books for those, because the the mindfulness books help you to go through the pages of the book, doing mindfulness exercise, and at the back of the book, it tells you where the child is emotionally with themselves. And so I told the mother, please do the magical tree, because it's very precise in how the child's feeling. And then actually the mother came back to me today and said, you're right, he needs more nature. He's getting irritated. There's not enough of it. And there you go, where they did more before. It's simple things like that. It's not always a big thing. It's always the simple things.
But it's always in front of us. Whatever we're looking for.
Sometimes you don't know. You're busy, you're working, you're driving. The parents got more than one child. That's why the books are so great, because you can identify what's going on emotionally with the child, and it tells you how to balance them holistically, simply, with simple techniques. It doesn't cost anything, No,
but the program works. 100% it works.
Yeah, it does. It does work.
Works.
We've 15 years.
Terry's done this works in Dubai. It's done parts of Europe. So it's worked.
In
America, it's worked. Every single classroom.
And so the great tools for parents, because I even use it with my son. You're too close, to see what's going on. What why are they out of balance? What do they need? And it's always the simplest things, but nature's one big thing. And the reason why we base the books and the programs around Mother Nature is, awareness through Mother Nature, mindfulness through Mother Nature, because it just calms everyone down. You're going with the flow, you're going in with the moment, and Mother Nature's always in rhythm. It's not out of rhythm. We're out of rhythm. So, do you see what I'm saying? And that's where we've all come. That's why there's this huge disconnect. I mean, just today, my girlfriend Katie has got a Peace for Animals foundation, and she shared with me a big whale that's been washed up on a beach in Hawaii. Huge, it's dead, it's full of plastic. That is Mother Nature saying to us, get your act together, guys.
It's like in our face.
It's like throwing the dustbin back full of, poo, it's the whale, God bless it, but inside it's a dustbin full of plastic. That's the universe. When we read Mother Nature, we look at Mother Nature, like the shamans are really good at that. They're interweaved into the energy. They know when something's off. And so it's about children. The garden is their mind. What do you plant in it? What do you feed in it? What do you water it? What do you like to put in it? And a place where you can go, even if you're in a hospital and you're not in being able to go outside, you can bring it still, the connection in. It's there. Mother Nature's so powerful.
Wow, Terri, I have chills by what you said, that your Mother Nature's not out of rhythm. We're out of rhythm. And getting back into rhythm is either what humanity needs to learn, or there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen. The programming, the messages, keeping people asleep, and spiritual awakening. In discussing that, I think there are forces that want to keep people asleep.
Because they go on about climate change. Let's get rid of the plastic and plant more trees. Hello. It's not that difficult.
Wait, what? This is breaking news. More trees.
Not about electrical cars. It's simple.
It's plastic.
Clean up the land, clean up the food, plant more trees, get rid of the plastic.
Well, do people have, yes, get rid of exactly. Do people have, okay, I'm going to say this just to speak for anybody listening or to play the other side of this. I don't have 10 minutes to go to nature. I don't have 5 minutes to take a deep breath. A lot of people believe that they don't have this time. What do you say?
I just think it's so important for you to manage your time and yourself. And if you do not feed yourself, look at the birds. They feed themselves, don't they? Mother Nature feeds the birds. They don't go to the supermarket, do they?
It is going to catch up with you.
The birds don't go down to the supermarket.
No, but
I feed the birds, but the Mother Nature's providing the berries on the trees and et cetera, et cetera. The squirrels are out there. It's all out there. It's Mother Nature's feeding. If you can't feed yourself and take 5 or 10 minutes in the day,
it will catch up with you.
Yeah, and you're not really putting yourself on the list. It means you're not really loving yourself enough, If you're denying yourself that, to me, it would be lack of self-love for self. That's what I presume. Yeah, which you can always take 5 or 10 minutes. I just don't understand when people say don't have time. You don't want to find time.
Unless you don't want to look for...
Yeah, because you will see
some stuff come up, 100%. So you do have your stuff that you have to deal with. You have to do the work. In most cases, people think, I don't have to do the work because I have a crystal that will take it away, or I have someone. No, you have to do the work. You have to listen to your body. You have to listen to those emotions. You have to deal with those emotions.
But that's what he's trying to say, that there's so many distractions. That's why my son's in a school that has no iPads or phones or anything. There's no electrical stuff.
Really? Wait, he's in a school where there's no electrical at all?
Nothing.
No.
No more black.
Where is this school? I want to send my cousins, my friends' kids.
Well, Waldorf still does that. And this is Seashore, and I'm sure some other ones. This is Seashore Academy. But it's, I'm not against him being on electrical. I know that's the future in certain ways, but there has to be balance. There has to be balance. And there's so many distractions out there to fill the so you don't want to look at yourself. You don't want to go there. You're so many distractions you can find. There's so much energy you can pick up through looking at all this social media. And that's another thing. When you're aware of how you're feeling, you've got to gauge, and we've always taught our son this. When you're watching something, how is it making you feel? That's the question. How is it making you feel? Do you feel good? Is it giving you anxiety? Then turn it off. It's not right for you. It might be right for someone else. There might be a stronger character to do that, to take on that energy. Like our friend Katie, she looks at all this animal stuff every day. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm honest, I couldn't do it. But, it's her energy's being able to adjust to that. Like nurses going into a hospital, seeing a lot of death, and, their energies, it's not me. So what we're saying is that to
get into the vibration.
What's your vibration? Why are you here? What's right for you? It might not be right for this person. Going into the schools and teaching children to read their own energy and listen to someone else's, but that's not where I'm feeling today, and that's what I'm feeling. So you don't need to take that on. This isn't right for me, so I'm going to pass. So I always, use Michael as an example. Just sit with it for a bit. Let's see. Do you really want to do that? Do you not? Even if I think it's good, how do you feel? Not really. You've got to get that feeling. And if somebody had taught me at a young age, I probably wouldn't have been in the shit that I was in, quite frankly. I did a lot of things that I knew was no.
But just did it.
Still.
Because sometimes we still do it.
Because they said, that's how you were brought up. You have to do it.
No, but sometimes
you've got to do it.
You got the people pleasing. You're like, I have to do it, So yeah.
It's this. You've got to do it. Be quiet. Get on with, learn. Why? But back in my day, you didn't dare question,
I'm like raising my hand for the people pleasing here, which I'm doing that.
We've all done it. I think you get to a certain age in your 40s and you think, stuff it, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
You can't, your life changes in your 40s.
50s, you just don't.
And then, you just kind of think, what, I'm not doing it anymore. So, yeah.
I agree. I mean, that's,
you've got to honor yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you don't like the other person, it's just not for me, thank you. If your friends or someone falls out with you over that,
not really a friend.
It's on their terms.
Because
it's not yours,
there should be no pressure on a friendship.
No. It's okay if someone, I'm just not feeling, I don't feel, I just don't want to go in.
They should honor that.
Yeah, they should honor it.
Simple as that.
Honor something that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Instead of going with everything. And I think that's why at the moment, our world's in a massive shift. Everyone's trying to click into their part, aren't they? They're all trying to click into their vibration. And it's like, whoa, there's a lot of clickings, You're trying to find that. And some people find it easier than others,
A major detox. A major detox needs to happen. And
I think it has been happening for the last 2 years. but now it's really kicking in.
But also it's, what we've realized as well is sometimes you'll think of this person coming in a thought and all of a sudden the phone rings and it's this person.
Oh,
Or all of a sudden you see something that you spoke about something in the morning, in the afternoon you see it. So time, I think, is busy catching up in such a quick way. And I think the manifestation happens so quickly currently. We have to be aware of our words and our thoughts, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise it just comes through like
Just
boom.
comes in.
It comes in
Like a vengeance.
Vengeance, like in a big way.
wow. Energetically though, going back to, how perceptive kids are to energy, and how adults, it's like we have to, again, unlearn the disconnect to start connecting back again. I was just, a thought crossed my mind, Terri, about just envisioning how you're teaching these concepts to kids about checking in with themselves, energy, and Buddy, you mentioned vibration. And a lot of adults don't think that kids understand these concepts, but they understand it better than we do, because they've come into this plane already open, or
open, and they've seen nature to be magical. They find everything out there magical. They learn through all their senses. But also, children are born to hear nature and feel everything until it's probably, like you said, knocked out of us to the point that it's always still there. It just needs to be reminded. But it's, it can be dulled. And I think that when we take them into their mindful garden or magical tree or magical garden, I just see a light bulb go on with the children. And I think it's a realization that we are from there and that we're not disconnected. And that's the excitement. And I see that everywhere in the world, wherever I've gone. It's not just, even people have come back to us from hospitals with children that have cancer and don't get out. And they've used the books in the hospitals and the meditations and the visionary things that we have through videos in nature. And they instantly feel different. That energy's coming to their bodies. And that's what the Native Americans and all the shamans around the world work like. There's no disconnect wherever you are, in a room, out a room. Once you're entwined with that Mother Nature energy, we're born from it, we die and you're put back into it. So,
children reflects everything.
Yeah, they do.
They reflects how we feel and what do we do. So they reflect. But also what's interesting is that we had a fantastic testimonial from a family that has got a son that is special needs. And it's changed the entire dynamic of the entire family by just implementing.
Well, she used the book. She didn't buy the book for her son. Yeah, I think he's 17. 17. And she bought them for her daughter. And then the son said, could I, because he has very bad special needs, and he couldn't communicate with her really well. And so there was a lot of frustration. And so she sat down and thought, let me try the books with him. Communication tool. Because whatever he chose told him what he needed in the back of the book. And the whole dynamics of the family, everyone's calmed down, everyone's a lot happier. He gets the books out to communicate with her. And I'd never have thought that. Allow the programs and the books to just grow themselves and go where it's needed to be used as tools, But yeah, we did she gave us a great testimonial on that. It was amazing, and it was just wonderful to see. And she did talk about it a lot and share it a lot within her community.
Oh my gosh. It's like you gave them their son back.
That's what
you said, actually.
That's what you said, if you listen to it.
If you listen to it on Angels Light Children's Foundation website, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Exact words.
It's what makes you a healer. It makes you light workers. It's when you feel called to plant the seed, not knowing how far it'll go.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Not fully understanding how far it'll go. And yeah, because I think you're given it's like you're given the foresight to see what you're meant to do, and you can choose to go towards it with that vision or not, and use your gifts for that purpose of what you see in your mind's eye. But the rest, they don't show you.
I just love it when I see the light bulb in the child's faces and their eyes. It gives me so much joy. Even if it's just planted one little seed and they use it in their life, just one thing, to me, I find it very sad to see a child that's disconnected through an institution or whatever's been going on, when they're here for a very special reason, and they are such pure divine souls, it's just nice, and they have such an imagination. The magic is so much easier to work with them. They're easy to be flexible, and I find the children. You're right. What Buddy said earlier was the fact that they are, if parents and teachers or educators, therapists, if parents even just be aware of the messages the children are trying to give their parents, it's powerful. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. It's like, listen to the message that's coming through from your own child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Terri, do you mind if I read? I bookmarked a little section of the book that really touched my heart.
Of course, Dan.
Because if anyone is not listening to this on the YouTube version and just listening to this with audio, you won't be able to see first of all, how beautiful this book is. I had to comment right away. It's also like really good paper. It's like really good. It's like cardstock. I'm like, woo!
I'm very fussy. I mean, we'd all like it to be, recycled, sustainable paper. But yeah, one day.
Illustrations are so beautiful. But this particular page made me very emotional.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my magical rooms. And there are depictions of several rooms here: cozy room, playroom, a cave, several other rooms, and the child can kind of choose which magical room they like to visit. But I bookmarked this section here, which is, I'm going to read it. Decide how you're feeling. What mood are you in? Maybe it's time to go deep down within. Is it time to be creative with music or magic? Whichever you choose, it will be totally fantastic. Terri, this, for me, it touched me and it moved me a lot because it has the energy of full acceptance to it. No matter you choose, you're okay. You're like, okay. And that is a huge seed of healing
you mean whatever you choose, whatever you do is all okay?
It's all okay.
I never looked at it that way, actually. It's interesting how everyone has their awakening moment through maybe, like you said, one word, okay.
One word, and it's you're okay. Most kids don't have to be taught how to express themselves or to play. They just create and they use their imaginations freely. It's not until an adult comes over and looks at their drawing and says, oh, that doesn't look like a giraffe. No, that's not an elephant. And it can change the child's worldview forever because in their mind's eye, they were creating. They were just creating.
You're right.
Yes.
And the page has a lot of meaning for me too, because I know. See, that's why I'm saying this is for adults too. It's not just for kids, but having a safe place to go, having a safe place to go when you feel scared, when you feel frightened, when you feel, mom and dad are fighting, or you feel like I'm overstimulated. Am I allowed to have some time to myself? Whatever you can go to a place in your mind's eye, or just talk about it and it'll be okay. Or to say, no, I'm gonna play with my friend, Timothy. Oh no, Timothy's not real. You can't stop talking to Timothy. That's behavior problems. It's not.
But you know what? It's not. You're right. It's a place where they go because that's I always went into my garden. That's how it also started. I always did my meditations and all my clients in gardens, as you know yourself. And everything's around Mother Nature. And so that's how it also formed as well, the magical garden, because that's all the meditations that I did. But it's, you're right. That's what the whole point is. You mentioned a really good point that it is a safe place for children to pop in and go, because that's where I go. And I speak to my guides in there, whoever it might be. It could be an animal, it could be the tree, it could be your granddad or somebody else or an angel, whatever. And the children do give me back that message when I'm in the school, who came in, you go, I don't tell them, they tell me. And you can access guidance from that. And you're right, it's a safe place for you to pop in and go back and to use at any time, for you to just go into and listen. And because it's nature, we all love it, don't we? It's easy to go in, it's not like you're creating something else. It's easy to go in there, and everyone's got a different garden. And that's why I get all the children to draw their trees and gardens, because they're all so unique. And some are different planet-looking gardens, some are crystals, some are space gardens. They're all different. But it's just good to get in that mindset of that child, where what their garden looks like to them, where do they feel more relaxed? It's very interesting. So yeah, you touched on a good part there, and I think also a very powerful word. Like, just one word stood out to you in the entire book was okay.
Yeah, it's that simple. I mean, and every adult, I think, no matter who you are, wants to hear that they're okay. Which is why I feel so many people are going through a spiritual awakening right now. At least I feel it, because they want to feel okay, or the energies are suddenly getting so overwhelming that they're forced to do the shadow work right now. And Buddy and Terri, I just wanted to say thank you, because part of my spiritual awakening started with you, and carried on with you, because of the space you provided during lockdown with the Angels of Light meditation that I look forward to on Fridays. Where you gave me my garden back. You gave me a chance to be connected with my guides, to see like angels so clearly, like I could never seen before. And then also, for the first time in my life, truly understood what it meant that we were all connected, in light energy, and how we had to, we're just transmuting that fear into love and putting it back into the planet. I mean, those were powerful experiences that we had in that meditation group. And also, I think it saved us, during...
I agree with you. I think he saved us all. I think there was a lot of energy used. It was a great group. They still are in a group. We do it occasionally, but it went on for 2 years, this group that came together. And you're right, it was a great, powerful, dedicated group. But I think we did a lot more work than what we probably saw, because we came together collectively to just offer our energy, and for the collective to work through us, and the angels or the divine, whoever is working through us, the higher beings of light. And yeah, like, just touching on when you came here the other week and you had your own personal session. I think also, when we discussed afterwards, there is a different another place, and where we're from, and we both saw the same thing. And whereas when we pop back into this world, we probably would see something different, individually. But in where we went together in that one-on-one session was the same.
It was extremely emotional, Terri.
But it was the same place.
It was, and that's why
we saw.
That was so valid.
We have such different lives.
And you'd never known each other before.
Well, we knew from the meditation, but I'd never met him in person. Yeah. And, just to both see the same thing, and where we were both transported, it is you do go into that higher Garden of Eden, that place where we're all from, that some people might call it 5D. For me, it's where we're from. That's what it is. And this is not really the real Mother Earth. I think we're not seeing the actual real beauty of her.
There's a matrix. There is a bubble.
Yes.
Well, Terri and Buddy, there is more work to do. There's more work to do. I will ask you, what's next for you? in the spiritual work, in what you're doing right now, what you're cultivating. What is next for you?
I think our main focus is on the Children's Foundation. We are working with people in Africa, in England, and the United States at the moment, and we're just really looking to grow that. Because what a difference to keep our children's minds open and aware and understanding themselves and who they are, and the connection of Mother Nature to go forward and make change on the planet. So for us, it is really the foundation, and to really grow and hopefully plant seeds in people's minds to open these different types of educational schools.
Yeah, it's a lifetime commitment, this. I mean, it's not just...
for me, it's the love of, I want to see different schools.
To make a difference on the planet,
Parents
especially with
are
children.
looking for different educational schools.
I agree. I think it is the foundation too, and I see it as a light bulb that is multiplying, because it only takes one light to really illuminate a room full of darkness. It takes more darkness to really squash light. And I see the Angels of Light Foundation as being planted strategically around the world, also where it needs to be, and also, which I think it needs to be everywhere.
Yeah, from your mouth to God's ears.
It needs to be everywhere, because that is the cleansing and clearing from, for the real earth, just spiritually connecting. And I always knew that it was going to be the children that would lead us out of the darkness. And you're planting...
Yeah, it's right, because someone posted the other day, it was always about the children. Dear one. I thought, wow.
That's powerful.
It was always about the children, dear ones.
Yes. Well, let's say it one more time, so there's 3. When it's true, we say it three times. It was always about the children, dear ones. Absolutely.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's powerful. Terri and Buddy, you're doing amazing work. I'm honored to know you. I am inspired by you. And I always learn something very, very valuable when I'm with you. That's why I know that anyone listening to this or watching this is going to receive something beyond that we could even, because you're both just, you're healers and you're gifted. Also very powerful manifestors. I can't wrap my head around how you do everything you do.
Funny, maybe I should take that on board. I always feel like I'm not doing enough at all.
Oh my God.
Hard on myself. Like, I just think, no, it's just doing nothing really. It's not enough. It's never enough, so that's something probably I have to work on that,
That's what powerful people say. That's what people who are doing stuff say.
I know, it's really weird. It's just, you just think,
Or maybe it's just slow.
Yeah, that's another thing for me. Patience. It's too slow.
Oh.
It needs to go faster.
Well, let everyone know how they can find you, how they can contact you. How can they give money to the Angels of Light Foundation? How can they donate and support the Angels of Light Foundation?
That's right, actually, because as you know, we give out our programs. Everything we do is for free, and the children's books at the moment, we are in need of printing more of the children's books. And so we are printing, but obviously really require...
we require funds.
Donations now.
Yes.
To pay for the printing. We have kept it going ourselves with our board members, but the printing of the books that we send out, to children all over the world, we and teachers, and especially in underprivileged parts of the world that can't afford it, we are really looking for donations now so we can release the books from the printers.
So you can get hold of us at www.angelsoflightonline.com. That's www.angelsoflightonline.com. Feel free to click the donation button. We're really grateful.
Yeah, we are.
And
just remember that anything that comes in is a book for a child.
Yes, it's spreading that knowledge as well as giving
$5, $10, anything.
Give it back to that child. That's all. It's a book for a child.
Program,
Yeah, that's you're angels. That's it. I'll close with that. You're angels. Also, the Magic of Miracles podcast can be found on
Apple Podcast as well as Spotify. as well as Google. You can find it on every single platform, actually, the Magical Miracles podcast. On every single platform, it's available. It's inspirational. We use it to put out positivity. So if anyone feels down that day, we have miracles around us every single day. It's just taking that moment and realizing that's a miracle that took place. So feel free. It helps to inspire. It helps to uplift. It helps to give back to different communities. So feel free to listen to our podcast. Yes.
Awesome. Please listen to their podcast. Please donate and support the Angels of Light Foundation. Every little bit helps. Send your energy even. If you can't give, send your energy, because that is a commodity too.
Or even just share.
Yes.
Share.
Get
Pass it on.
You remember, we're all connected. You never know where the energy is going to go, because where intention goes, energy flows. My energy is flowing, and I've received so much. I hope that you all have today. Terri, Alan, and Buddy, thank you for sharing your energy with me, being a light in my life and to so many. I feel like doing more. I feel like I want to do more, and I'm like my mind is ready to do more, and that's literally kickstarted by being in your presence, by hearing you, and by honestly tapping into your energy. So thank you for
thank you, Charles. Thanks for having us on, and
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, with a heart.
We're really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna close with my most vulnerable and honest statement, which is I don't know how to say goodbye to these two amazing angels, but we'll see them soon. Promise you'll come back.
We will always.
We've got so much more. We didn't even scratch the surface. We have more to talk about and discuss.
For sure.
As everything is changing. All right, let's get back into nature, everyone.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Love and light. Thank you.